So, you're starting a business, right? And one of the very first things you run into is this huge question. Do you whip up a logo yourself in like 20 minutes on a tool like Canva? Or do you shell out the cash to hire a professional? It seems like a simple choice, but trust me, it can have a massive impact on where your brand goes from here.
But let's be real for a second. Can your customers actually tell the difference between a quick Canva logo and a fancy custom one? More importantly, does it even matter? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
The honest answer? Sometimes, yeah, it's painfully obvious, and other times you'd never know. But understanding the difference, and when it counts, is the secret sauce to making the right call for your brand and, your wallet.
All right, first up, let's dive into the go-to for so many startups and brand new businesses, the do-it-yourself route with Canva.
Now, if you're not familiar with it, Canva is this hugely popular, mostly free, online design platform. And its main appeal is that it's just so easy. You can knock out a pretty decent-looking logo in about the time it takes to drink a coffee, which makes it super fast and accessible for anyone just getting off the ground.
And when I say the process is simple, I mean it couldn't be simpler. That's the whole point, right? You just scroll through their library, pick a pre-made template you kind of like, swap out the text for your business name, maybe tweak a color, and then boom, you hit download, and that's it. You're done.
But here's the catch, a critical technical detail that so many people miss. On the free plan, you get a PNG or a JPG file. Now, these are pixel-based, so they look totally fine on a website. But the second you try to blow them up for a sign or a van or a t-shirt, they get all fuzzy and blurry. Not a good look. For that infinitely scalable SVG file that works for everything, you've got to upgrade to Canva Pro. And that's a really crucial distinction.
Okay, so that's the DIY world. Now, let's flip the coin and look at the alternative, going the professional custom route.
A custom logo isn't just a pretty picture. It's really a strategic asset for your business. The key difference here is that it's not just adapted from a template. It's built from the ground up, based entirely on your business, your audience, and your goals.
And the process is a whole different ballgame from that 20-minute DIY job. A designer kicks things off with a deep dive, a discovery phase to really understand your business and your competitors. Then they'll develop completely unique concepts for you to look at and give feedback on. And the final result? It's a whole package with every single file type you'll ever need.
Of course, this all comes at a very different price point. A DIY logo is practically free. A freelancer might run you a few £100s, and a studio often starts in a similar range. But as we're about to see, that upfront cost, it really isn't the whole story.
So we've seen the pros of the DIY option. It's fast, it's cheap. But now let's get into where that quick and easy choice can start to create some real problems for a business that's trying to grow. Think about this. Around 40% of small businesses are now using template tools for their logos. That means the market is absolutely flooded with similar-looking icons and fonts. The biggest risk of using a template isn't that it looks unprofessional, it's that it makes you look like everybody else.
And this isn't just about looks. Research from Harvard Business Review actually confirms that logos designed specifically for a brand's purpose build much stronger connections with customers. In other words, being generic actively works against you building a memorable brand.
So, when does this actually bite you in the real world? Well, first, like we said, the minute you try to print it large. Second, that really awkward moment when a customer gets that weird feeling of déjà vu because they've seen your logo's icon on another business's website. And third, if you're in a super crowded market like fitness or beauty or food, blending in is the absolute last thing you want to do.
And beyond the visual stuff, there are some more serious hidden problems. First, you generally can't trademark a logo made with Canva's non-exclusive stock elements. That leaves your brand completely unprotected. Second, you don't truly own the design. You're just licensing the parts. And finally, you're left with just a logo file, not a complete brand system with all the defined colors and fonts you need to look consistent everywhere.
Okay, so with all that in mind, how do you actually decide what's right for you right now? Let's break down how to make that choice.
To be super clear, there are definitely times when a Canva logo is the right choice. It's a great option if you're just testing a business idea, if you're running a small side project or a hobby, or if you just need a temporary placeholder while you save up for a professional design. In those situations, it's a practical, sensible solution.
However, a custom logo becomes totally worth the investment when you hit certain milestones. If you're charging premium prices, your brand needs to look the part. If you're making physical merchandise or packaging, you have to have those scalable files.
And if you want to trademark your brand and truly own it, a unique, custom design is the only way to go.
And this isn't just about appearances. It has a direct impact on your bottom line. Research shows that companies with consistent, professional branding can see revenue increases of up to 23%. A custom logo is literally the cornerstone of a brand system that can drive that kind of real growth.
So here's the crucial point. A ton of businesses that start out with a DIY logo end up paying for a complete redesign within 12 to 18 months. And by then, they have to reprint business cards, update their website, change everything. That so-called cheap option often ends up costing a whole lot more in the long run.
Ultimately, this whole Canva versus custom debate really comes down to one single, powerful question you need to ask yourself. Are you building a brand that's just meant to get you started? Or are you building a brand that's designed to last, to scale, and to be truly yours? The answer to that will tell you everything you need to know.